Hey, everybody, welcome to our pop-up Thursday night call. I'm going to do calls the fourth, maybe the fifth Tuesday every once in a while, and I'm going to call pop-up calls when they're needed. And tonight is a really needed call. I'm very excited about the call tonight, Thursday night, not our normal night. So this is your first introduction to pop-up calls, whatever that is. So I know it's kind of fun. So it gives me an opportunity every once in a while to say, hey, we're doing something new. We need to get on to Zoom and see what's going on. So tonight we've got Brandon Barber as our guest speaker. I know there's formal stuff I'm going to say about him. I'm going to say the formal stuff first, but the informal, personal stuff, I think is way better. But I think this will give you a sense of who Brandon is. So he used to struggle with debilitating anxiety, adrenal fatigue, complete business burnout. Anybody feel like that ever? Struggling business owner living paycheck to paycheck. All that changed when he discovered resilient systems and started implementing them into his business. And we're going to learn about those. Brandon has worked as a resilience guide. I love that, a resilience guide. Ooh, that is so great. And that is what he is. He is such a great guide. For over 25 years, worked with over 1 million individuals. Just think about the amount of experience he's had, good, bad, upside, downside, talking with over 1 million individuals, created over 100 proven business and personal growth courses, generating over $20 million. And when you work with him, you will immediately recognize he's one of the most masterful. This is what I should be saying all by myself. I know this to be true. He really is one of the most masterful coaches and teachers I've ever had. I was on a coaching call with him today and stuff came up out of the blue. I thought I had nothing to say. And somehow him just sitting and waiting for me to talk pulled all kinds of stuff out of me that I didn't know was there. So if you're ready to face adversity, challenges, problems with confidence and strength, unlock untapped potential, get high performance results, and help others do the same, then you are definitely in the right place. And I just want to add a few more things to that. There's something that's so intuitive about you, Brandon. I mean, I say a word and then you say something else. It's like that, when you play that game and somebody says a word and you say something else, but you say something that I never would have thought of that's really the piece of me that I wanted to say that I didn't know I wanted to say. And I just think there's magic in the way that he coaches and works with people. So we're going to get started, Brandon, tonight. And of course, this is being recorded and it's going to be on our Facebook group. It'll be on the Heat Team Facebook group. So you can encourage all of your team members to be looking at this after the fact. But Brandon, what really inspired you from the very get-go to get started? Like, what was the turn? What happened? What flash happened that you said, this is what I'm going to do and be and have purpose in my life?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking me that. I think what led me to this whole concept of coaching and being a resilience coach was I struggled with debilitating anxiety in my late 30s, where I literally became agoraphobic. So I had fears everywhere. Like I had a fear of, I had a fear of myself. I had a fear of my shadow. I had a fear of I couldn't fly. I couldn't drive. I couldn't, there was fear everywhere. And I had this strong desire to get out of it. So um, I I went into, you know, thousands of different programs, thousands of different books. Maybe not thousands of programs, but hundreds of programs, thousands of hours of books. I started working with the best of the best on the planet to try to figure out what in the world would help me get out of this space where I couldn't leave. I couldn't leave my house. I mean, I I was in massive fear. Fear of flying. I mean, I love this story of fear of flying. I couldn't get on an airplane. Michelle and I were recently we went to just somewhere quick. We went to Houston and the flight attendant came up to me and said, "Congratulations, Mr. Barber. Thank you for being a 2 million miler." And I thought, oh my gosh, like I went from petrified, I could not get on an airplane, to a 2 million miler. Like I felt pretty proud of myself. I thought that was pretty cool. what led me to talk to you guys today about and to talk to Nikki about this whole concept of resilience was 2020 when we had to change our entire business model, when we were literally shaken up at the core. Revive and thrive. How do we revive and thrive? Why do we need to revive and thrive? Today, Nikki and I talked about not having to restart your business, but how many of you feel like you need to revive your business and you want to revive it so you can thrive? 2020, COVID hit us in my business, and we went from 11 employees to 2 overnight because we're in the workshop business. We went to build workshops. We went to help people in the workshop space. So we'd go and to a different city, we'd facilitate an event or a workshop. You'd come attend it. You'd walk away with this great program. And it's like we had this model that worked for years. COVID shut it down. And I had to tap into a new place. I had to create a new drive. I had to revive my business, and I had to pivot my business in a very different way. I didn't have to start over, but I had to pivot. And I think for a lot of people today, the feeling is, oh, I have to start over in my business. I have to start from scratch, and I don't want to do that. And we're going to give you some tools today to help you, because what I did is I just learned how to pivot. So that's why I'm here today.
I think it's such a big difference between, oh my gosh, I have to start over versus I have to pivot. Starting over just sounds big and hard. And I already did this for 10 years and now things have changed and I don't want to start over. But if you think about pivoting, it's a whole different framework that allows you to see things differently. So how do you do this? Like you have some process called what do you do?
It's called the Revive and Thrive formula. And it's a system that um, basically takes strategy. I mean, the first thing we look at when we look at this system is you have to look at the strategy. What's my strategy for taking action? Um, how do you create a strategy to get into massive action? What I realized in 2020, when I was in the space I was in, I was stuck. And I had to come up with a strategy to get into massive action. How do I get into massive action? So the first thing is coming up with a strategy for massive action. And how to do this at a high performance level so you can get high performance results. Because no one wants to do this just kind of, like sort of. But the key is to come up with this strategy. How do I strategize high performance? And I had to break down this piece of strategizing high performance. And it starts by you and a piece of paper and a pen. And it starts by figuring out how to tap into the strategy. How do I get into the strategy of the concept, or the concept of strategy, to move myself and get myself to move with purpose? And listen, there's lots of videos, there's lots of books, there's lots of tools out there. But to get to a place where you can literally do in a day, because you become so effective and because you become so focused, you can do in a day what takes a lot of people weeks to do, months to do. But it starts with strategizing. There must be a strategy to get you going. And part of the Revive and Thrive system is starting with strategy. What's my strategy? What am I doing? What's my vision? What am I after? And getting clear about that. And then you have to tap into drive and passion, like real drive and passion, not just motivation, not just excitement. I talk about those things as they're sort of like they're kind of, it's kind of like waiting around, waiting to get excited and motivated to take action in your business. It's sort of like getting excited and motivated for Christmas morning. Like it's very adolescent psychology, right? If you think about excitement, you're like, I'm waiting to get excited. When am I going to wait for excitement? How do I wait for that? I was waiting to get excited in 2020, and I waited for 3 months. and I still wasn't excited. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I had to create my passion. So the next thing is to create drive and passion, not excitement and motivation. So people that are out there teaching motivation and excitement, and listen, I did it for years. I don't think it's sustainable because it has these ups and downs. So the revive and thrive system involves tapping into drive and passion to
So
um to to get to a place where you bounce out of bed. Like you don't like get up and you're like, ah, here we go. It's like you bounce out of bed because you want to serve people at a core level. But developing drive and passion is the second step we do in the system.
I think I'd just like to ask people listening is, when was the last time you got out of bed? Like you can't wait to do whatever it is that you're going to do. And there's
Yeah.
some things like I was talking to Brandon earlier today, like I'm like that when I get out of bed for pickleball. I cannot wait to do it. I really can't wait to do it, to get better, to be with people, to grow, to all of those things. But wouldn't that same thing be great every day to wake up with that feeling? And I do know what it feels like to do that. And I am working on reviving and thriving and redeveloping and pivoting, as Brandon says, to get back to that place where I wake up in the morning and go, wow, I can't wait to.
Yeah.
So what holds people back from doing that, Brandon? What's holding people back these days?
Well, um, I mean, if you look at so we have a self-esteem struggle for sure in the world. And listen, there studies show that a person's self-esteem peaks when they're 9 years old and then takes a nosedive. What nosedives people's self-esteem? So if you look at the concepts of self-esteem, what are the biggest self-esteem? What are the things that break down self-esteem the most? I'd say number one is shame. People have shame about things. Brene Brown fans, you know all about shame. But shame is a major component of that. I think unmet expectations. Any expectations you create that get unmet, in other words, we call that failure, right? That's another self-esteem like knife, if you will.
Totally.
Comparison, um, secrets or not being willing to be vulnerable. And listen, if you're not being willing to be vulnerable because you have a bunch of secrets, then connection with people gets really weird. So now all of a sudden your connection with other people gets muddled big time, which is literally the third step we take on when we look at this revive and thrive system is we've got to have communication tools for 2025. The communication tools for 2025 are not the same as they were in 1995 or 2005 or even 10 years ago. We get so much information, we're being inundated with information. Communication tools today are very different. So, how do you get more cooperation? How do you get more productivity when you're being inundated with information? There are different ways that you have to work with people. And so, connecting with people, I think, is critical. And that's like the third step we do in this whole concept of revive and thrive system is give you the tools to communicate more effectively with people. Because if you have this secret that you hold on to, and this place where you're struggling to be vulnerable or be open or be truly authentic, then I think you do get weird with people and it gets strange. And then when you ask people things or you go to make people offers or you talk to people about your business, if it's from a weird place, they don't know what's going on. All they know is they feel something strange. And it's our mirror neurons, right? Mirror neurons are that part of us that responds to people in a
Mhm.
way that just feels strange.
Yeah.
And I think, one of the other things that's critical is we have to be able to turn overwhelm or stress, which is what holds people back big time. I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed. I have so much going on. Like, what if we were able to turn overwhelm and stress into fear? And you go, well, that doesn't sound good. Like, why would you turn it into fear? Fear is actually a good thing. If you can turn stress, if you think about stress, stress is chronic. So it's in our system and it's like ongoing. And fear is an emotion that we can process through and move through and get out of. In fact, for most people, fear is actually a good thing if you look at it that way. So I'll give you an example, guys. Tell me your greatest experiences, the three greatest experiences of your life. And most people will say childbirth. Most people will say jumping out of an airplane, swimming with sharks, traveling in the middle of nowhere, and by myself in some backpacking trip or something I did. Our greatest experiences. Think about your greatest experiences in your life. In fact, you guys can throw in the chat your greatest experiences. What are your greatest experiences?
Heidi just said getting married.
Getting married. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, one of mine, Brandon, it's so true thinking about, I love seeing fear like this. One of mine was, climbing what they call the pamper pole, the 40-foot pole and jumping off.
Yeah.
We are talking so panicked. I did it that I didn't even know I was doing it because I was in such panic. But wow, it
Was that
never,
on a ropes course you did that?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And walking on fire. I did that too, but I never saw it as a one, kind of like a one and done. I mean, not exactly, but it's so much difference than stress.
Fear makes you stronger. Fear makes you better. And there's an exercise. Some of you have done this with me. We go through where you literally become the buffalo and you walk into the big cloud of fear because buffalo do that, right? When a big storm comes in the Midwest, buffalo walk into the storm, cows flee the storm. What happens to cows? They die in the storm. They end up in the storm much longer. Cows aren't very resilient. If you think about a buffalo, you think resilience. So, and there's a whole concept of the biosphere, right? The Biosphere 2 project, where they took trees into the biosphere and the trees kept, at a certain point, they'd fall over. These big giant trees would fall over. The same trees would grow outside the biosphere and they're fine. And they're like, what's the difference? We're giving them more nutrients in here. We're feeding them better. They're getting so much more. What did the trees inside the biosphere get that the trees outside the biosphere didn't get? You could say fear. It was wind. It was adversity. It was challenges.
Got it.
So they didn't grow the roots that they needed to have to sustain their growth. Um, and we could tell story after story after story of people who are not in that place of like adversity is good, fear is good. Fear makes you stronger, fear makes you better. So if you can turn stress and overwhelm into fear, it takes on a whole new meaning. And that's one of the steps I had to learn is I had to welcome fear. In order to get the revive and thrive system, you got to turn stress, worry, concern, overwhelm into fear. But then you welcome fear. So then the next step is we welcome fear. We make fear our friend. And then
So
yeah.
go on. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. Go
I'm
ahead.
just aware of time and how long people are listening. And I mean, I don't know about all of you, but I've already taken a couple pages of notes and I've already heard this many times from Brandon. I really have, except for something touched me differently this time about fear. I knew about the fear and stress thing, but I really got a whole new take on it, bigger than that I got huge about a week or two ago. So that's really cool. So what if we want to go on and say, okay, so why are Brandon and I talking about this tonight? What's in it for you besides this, which brilliance tonight? I don't know about the rest of you, but I love learning and I love learning from Brandon. But what is available? What should listeners do next to learn more about your system, to be involved, Brandon? Because we got something big coming up, I know.
We got something big coming up. One of the things that's going to come up though when I mention this is people have other things that hold them back. I don't have the time
Yeah.
and I don't have the money. Now, what we're going to give you guys is super inexpensive. So money is not really a big objection, but how many people live in a place of scarcity? So what holds people back big time? I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. So I want to mention what we're going to do, but then I know what's going to come up for most people is I don't have the time. We have a master class and it's the 24th through the 25th. It's called, you ready for this?
24th through the 28th.
24th to the 28th. Yes,
Okay.
sorry. 24th to the 28th. It's a 5-day masterclass, 1 hour a day. And here's our secret name for it: Revive and Thrive. So Revive and Thrive the Revive and Thrive formula we're going to give you in this 5-day course. So everything I've talked about today, we're going to walk through it step by step over these 5 days. It's 5 days to bring your business back to life. So it's directly for people who want to feel more passion and excitement about what they're doing, about the activities they're doing, to find more, not just excitement, not just passion, but a drive, to really build a drive behind your business, to build momentum, to search out for the action takers, to work with those action takers, to make that, just like, I need my focus to be in my business and take it to the next level. So all the details about that, let me put it in, I'll put them in the chat here and you guys can come join us, but we're going to be going through step by step, the 5 steps to revive and thrive, the formula I used when I was 30, the formula that I used and refined when I was in 2020 to build my business to another level so that I could work with different people, so that I got more excited about what I did. So I got a drive in what I did. So I built this drive within me that said, nothing can hold me back. Nothing's going to stop me, no matter what goes on, no matter what the struggle, no matter how many problems or issues there are. There's this whole other world that people get to live in. And I didn't realize that I was walking around in the desert and like thought that everything was this horrible, like awful, ridiculous place. And I discovered this new world once I started using this formula, that there's this whole new plethora of people to talk to. That there are this whole new group of people that say yes. There's a whole new group of people you don't have to chase down. There's a whole new group of people that will follow and show up for you when you learn the formula. So let me do this. Let me put in the chat the link to come join us for this 5 days. You think I should probably have this like just ready to go, but I don't. So
That's okay. You know what, Brandon, we talked about it today. You're just human.
sometimes, I get to as close to perfection as I can possibly get to, but okay, let's do this. Here it is, guys. Here's the link to join us in Revive and Thrive Masterclass. It's really easy. It's www.reviveandthrivemasterclass.com. But here is the link in the chat for you guys. Again, www.reviveandthrivemasterclass.com. There's the link. Nikki just got
Well,
it
we
up there.
did. I thought I could do it faster than you, but I couldn't. You still beat me.
We both threw it in there. So yeah, guys, this is where we're going to walk through the formula, the step by step, the 5 steps to revive your business in a whole other level. And I promise to bring some rich content for you guys. It's super inexpensive. I think it's $37.
Oh,
I'd encourage you guys to when you get there, you can upgrade to a VIP package. If you want to get all your questions answered and be hot seated by me, then you can upgrade to that once you get there.
and I'm curious, will these be recorded at night for people that work?
Everything's recorded.
Okay, so if you can't make a day, you can watch it that night, but I'm going to suggest to you, if that's really the case, make it your priority to watch it that night. Don't wait a week. Pretend that your class is that night instead of that day. That's
I'd recommend that.
It'll work.
I'd recommend that. The recordings do go away. When the challenge goes away, the recordings are gone. So this isn't one of those things you want to get on and just pay for and then be like, I'll watch the recording someday. It's like, you're working this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Each day will give you a challenge to walk away. Each day will give you a step within the system and then a challenge to go apply it. So you actually get the experiential learning from it instead of just knowledge from it. So
Brandon,
you'll actually do it.
What do you think about this idea? I could start a Voxer chat that's called Revive and Thrive that people can comment and participate in during this week to keep up the momentum. And especially for those people that can't be on the call, would you guys like to do that? That sounds like something that would be really cool to have a place to check in and say, wow, when he said this, this happened for me or that happened, that you're a place that you can share and feel safe. If anybody's interested, I'm happy to do it.
That's cool. That's super cool.
Well, it probably isn't up yet. Heidi said she just tried to sign up, but I don't think it's up and happening, is it,
No,
Brandon?
it is. It is. I had an issue with my credit card earlier,
Oh,
and it's actually all of our credit cards, but I don't know if it's Capital One or if it's my credit card.
okay.
So I'll
So
call and figure it out.
you can click on it and sign up tonight. Great.
Yeah, it's all ready to go. If you have any questions or problems, you can email it here. I'll put this in here too. support@brandonbarbercoaching.com. So, Heidi, if you have any problems, you can email Pam, who is my assistant, at that support@brandonbarbercoaching.com, and she can help you with anything as well at any time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So is there any last minute thing, Brandon, that you'd like to say, or does anybody, because I know time wise, we're coming to a close here. Is there anybody that's just dying to ask a question or comment on the experience they've had with Brandon, to let other people know that this is not hype, this is the real deal. At least in my heart it is. All right, Brandon, do you want to say,
Okay.
oh, Heidi?
I'm good. I appreciate you, Nikki. I appreciate having me on and walking me through this. And you guys, I appreciate you being here. I'm super excited. This is going to be, we're not doing a lot of master classes like we have in the past. You guys have seen a lot of us. Last year we did a lot of stuff, and you're like, I'll just do the next thing. This is going to be one of the only things you see over the next 6 months. So we are doing a fraction of what we did last year as far as master classes and challenges go. So this will be one and only for a while.
Yeah, good to know.
I'd like to say something. I really would recommend that if anybody's listening to this recording, that if you have never taken Brandon Barber's class, you really need to. If you've never experienced the coaching he offers, you really need to just step out and do it and just give it your all, because we flew him in I think 2018 or 19, I forget it was, but every single person in that ballroom was blown away. He was really, truly, Brandon, I'm not just saying this, but you were really one of the ones that we have brought in that most of the people in the room said, now that's something I can get behind.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you again for that experience. It was really a good one. And I really want to encourage all of the extended heat team players, people that are still in the game, to rise above this little blurb in the system and get some good coaching, because I think this is the time to do it.
Yeah, that was great, Alita. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to chime in as well. I just have to agree. And one thing that I really appreciate, Brandon, about your coaching is because I've done a lot of mindset work myself, and just to hear your different perspectives and throw a different spin on things that people would not have necessarily thought of otherwise is just brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And so I just want to thank you. And yeah, like Alita said, if you haven't done one of Brandon's trainings, or even if you have, I mean, I know that Nikki has told me time and time again, I've heard this stuff before, but today it just landed differently, because you never know, like our brains are in a different place every minute of every day. So we can't even begin to think that we know everything, because we really, really don't. Even when we think we do and we got it, we really
My
haven't.
mantra, Heidi. I thought I knew it, but I learned
My gosh.
crazy.
And everything sounds better with a British accent too. So
I know.
everything.
I know. So
You
anyway,
married one.
just want to thank everybody, and I'm hoping that we encourage all of your teammates and sideline buddies to watch this video. Our Heat Team Facebook group is public, so it's easy to share this. So
Thanks,
Brandon,
guys.
thank you so much. Everybody have an absolutely great weekend, great evening as well.
See you
Good
later.
night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Good night. Thanks.